Hello, everybody. I'm Deanna Minnick. I'd like to thank Pastor Adrian for having me talk about the role of food in our health and why the refrigerator is an important medicine cabinet to consider. If we are thinking about our spiritual health and really being connected spiritually, I think we also need to take care of our body as a temple, to give our bodies the foods that we need in order to stay healthy so that we can stay on purpose. So what I'm going to do is talk about some very simple things that all of us can do, no matter what kind of diet that you follow. So I'm calling this Body is Temple, Food is Medicine. Food is medicine is a principle that I've been studying for decades. In fact, I grew up with a very health conscious mother who believed that the whiter the bread, the quicker I was going to be dead. And so we couldn't have white bread in the house. We had to have whole grain sandwiches. We couldn't have sugar. And this was the 1970s when it really wasn't in style to be into health. So I have been in food and eating and nutrition, even though I had some initial resistance to it for a very long time. And throughout the course of my training, I came to learn that food is a lot of different things to people. Food is love, it's medicine, as I mentioned, it's connection, it's energy. Most people think of food as energy or fuel, but we're learning that it's much more than that eating certain foods can help to reduce the risk of certain diseases. And what I like to do is find the common denominator. What is the thing that most people can do that is impactful? And throughout my research, what I found was that having colorful foods is probably the best choice, eating more plants. So when I say colorful foods, I don't mean this kind of color. I'm not talking about the colors that you find in candy and cookies and cakes. I'm talking about the plant-based colors that are in nature. So if we think of all of the plant foods that are out there available to us, what an amazing palette, what artistry that God provides. And having these different plant-based foods is connected to reduced risk of so many different lifestyle-induced diseases. Everything from cardiovascular disease to cancer, certain types of cancer, type 2 diabetes, Alzheimer's disease, and cataracts. So what kinds of plant foods am I talking about? Well, the obvious ones probably come to your mind, like fruits and vegetables. Those are really important. But there are other foods within the plant kingdom that count. Things like nuts and seeds, which give us healthy quality protein and oil. Whole grains and legumes, things like beans and lentils and sprouted beans. These types of foods are not always very easily digestible by people. And so there might be something here about getting your gut in good working order. Keep in mind that 70% of your immune system is actually housed in your gut. It's really important to keep your gut very healthy. So we need a lot of fiber. We need a lot of fiber from these different plant-based foods. And then what about herbs and spices? You probably have some of these growing in your garden right now. Even small amounts of spices are very nutrient dense, and I consider this another medicine cabinet that's important to have within your home. So what can you do? What can you and the whole family do, or what can you do just by yourself? Well, you can start by tracking these whole, colorful, plant-based foods. And if you can just track it for a week's time. And so what you can do is you can have a list of, just have a piece of paper and write down the colors that you're eating. Write down red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, brown, and white, and just make marks underneath for each time that you have a plant-based food. So if you had an apple and it was red, the skin was red, you would put a mark under red. If you had lettuce, if you had spinach, that would go under green. If you had a banana, that would go under yellow. If you had blueberries, you would put that under the blue-purple category. So I think that this is something that the whole family can do, is track your colors. If you're eating all of the colors, that probably means that you're getting a more diverse, well-rounded diet. So one of the things that I published in scientific literature is how different colors of food seem to have a pattern that designates that they're good for certain things. So red foods, looking at their effect on inflammation and the immune system. Orange foods and reproductive health, things like fertility and different hormonal conditions. Yellow foods for the digestive tract, for the gut. Green foods for cardiovascular health, and blue-purple foods for brain health. Now, there is some crossover here. It's not that one color of these foods is only good for those things, but as a scientist, I look for patterns, and these are some of the patterns that I have seen. So what I will do in the subsequent videos is go through each of those colors and tell you a little bit more about what they do in your body.